You think drinking water is always healthy, but if you've been drinking it at the wrong times, it's silently damaging your body. Yes, even something as pure as water can weaken your digestion, ruin your sleep, and block your healing. Unless you discover the ancient rhythm monks have followed for centuries, and at the end of this video, you'll learn the 5 common mistakes people make with water, and how correcting them can awaken your energy, heal your gut, and restore the clarity your body's been begging for. If you're ready to stop sabotaging your health without realizing it, subscribe to Teachings of the Masters right now and reclaim the forgotten wisdom that turns ordinary habits into healing rituals. So, when does water heal, and when does it quietly create chaos? Let's begin with the mistake nearly everyone makes at every single meal. You were taught that water heals, that it cleanses, energizes, and keeps your body alive. And that's true, but only if you drink it the right way. What no one told you is that water, when consumed at the wrong time or in the wrong way, becomes a silent source of damage. Yes, even water can hurt you when it's disconnected from the body's natural flow. Buddhist monks have known this for centuries. They've observed how careless hydration weakens digestion, exhausts the kidneys, burdens the heart, and disrupts the rhythm of life force itself. The truth is, most people drink water the way they live, unconsciously. A few sips here and there, a large bottle chugged after hours of distraction, cold water with food, gulps before bed, but the body, according to ancient teachings, is a sacred system of timing, fire, and breath. And when water is poured into that system without awareness, the results are subtle but devastating. Fatigue, bloating, shallow sleep, premature aging, all of these may be rooted not in what you eat, but when and how you drink. The harm is invisible until it isn't. You don't need to fear water, but you do need to respect it. The monk drinks not with urgency, but with presence. He knows that water carries energy, that it either supports your healing or delays it. And so he teaches, before you change what you eat, change the way you hydrate. Because when you drink water with timing, stillness, and reverence, you're not just nourishing your body, you're correcting a mistake that's been weakening you for years. And in that moment you begin the return to balance, clarity, and the healing you were always meant to experience. To the untrained eye, drinking water during a meal seems harmless, even helpful, a way to wash down food, stay hydrated, or fill up faster. But Buddhist monks consider this one of the most disruptive habits for digestion and energy flow. Why? Because your stomach is a sacred fire. It needs heat, space, and stillness to transform food into life force. When you drink water while eating, especially in large gulps, you dilute your digestive acids, cool your internal fire, and weaken the very process that gives your body strength. This habit leads to more than just bloating. It creates a subtle fog in the system. Nutrients are poorly absorbed. Food sits longer than it should, fermenting instead of fueling. The result? Sluggishness after meals, brain fog, heaviness in the belly, and the slow build-up of toxicity. You might think your diet is the problem, but the monks would ask, how do you drink when you eat? Because often it's not the food, it's the interference. When digestion is compromised, no supplement, no superfood, no vitamin can do its job properly. The monastic tradition teaches that the true preparation for a meal begins before the first bite, with a still mind and an empty glass. Water should be taken 30 minutes before eating to support hydration and fire. During meals, it's time to chew, to breathe, to receive. Not to wash food down, but to honor it. When you remove water from the meal itself, your body becomes more efficient. You feel lighter, more energized, more connected to your hunger and your fullness. Healing begins not in what you add, but in what you remove. This is the first doorway back to balance. Nighttime is sacred. In ancient traditions, it's not just the end of the day, it's a passage. a time when the body transitions from doing to being, from effort to repair. But most people unknowingly interrupt this healing process with a seemingly harmless act: drinking water right before bed. It may seem like a small thing, just a glass, to stay hydrated. But this habit goes against what Buddhist monks have taught for centuries, that water has timing, and when consumed without rhythm, it can interfere with the deepest levels of healing. Late-night hydration confuses the kidneys. These organs in Eastern medicine are seen as containers of your life force, your storehouse of vitality and energy. After sunset, their activity is meant to slow. But when you introduce water too late, especially in large quantities, you force them to remain active. The bladder, too, stays on alert, pulling you out of deep sleep to eliminate. Your liver, which performs its most profound detox between 1 and 3 a.m., must divide its energy between purification and compensation. And so, what should be a sacred time of restoration becomes fragmented, disturbed. Over time, this pattern leads to shallow sleep, tired mornings, emotional instability, and weakened immunity. You may find yourself waking at night, unable to return to rest, or starting the day feeling inflamed, heavy, or foggy, and yet you wouldn't think water is to blame. That's the danger. The harm is quiet. The monks instead practice stillness in the hours before sleep. They stop drinking water at least an hour prior. Instead of hydrating with urgency, they prepare the body for surrender, a light stretch, a slow breath, and a heart that says, the day is complete. To break this pattern, you don't need to eliminate water, but you do need to realign with nature's rhythm. Hydrate. Earlier in the evening, focus on the sacred hydration windows earlier in the day. Let your body rest without interruption. Trust that you are not being deprived, you are being respected, and in that stillness, your sleep will deepen, your dreams will lengthen, and your body will awaken with the calm power that only a full night of undisturbed healing can give. This is how the monk drinks, with reverence for the day and protection for the night. In today's fast-paced world, even something as sacred as water has become another task to get done. People chug bottles between meetings, gulp down glasses before rushing out the door, or force themselves to drink a fixed number of ounces, without ever once connecting to the water itself. But the monks observe a deeper truth. How you drink is just as important as when or what you drink. When you pour water into the body without intention, the body cannot truly receive it. And when you rush, you replace healing with stress. When water is chugged, especially in large quantities, it bypasses the body's natural absorption process. Instead of flowing gently into the bloodstream and nourishing your cells, it overwhelms your kidneys, dilutes electrolytes, and sends stress signals through your nervous system. You may feel bloated, chilly, or lightheaded. Ironically, the body may even retain more water as a defensive response. This leads to swelling, heaviness, and fatigue. The vagus nerve, which connects the gut and brain, is deprived of the slow, calming rhythm that stimulates digestion and emotional regulation. The very act meant to heal has turned into another source of imbalance. The monge Buddhista never chugs. He sits, he breathes, he drinks in sips, small, warm, reverent. Not out of superstition, but because he understands the sacred exchange between water and life force. In his view, each sip is a blessing, a moment of return to the body, to presence, to stillness. This is how water becomes medicine. You don't need to stop drinking. You need to start receiving. Try this. Next time you drink, pause first. Place both feet on the ground. Hold your glass with both hands. Take 3 breaths. Then sip slowly, as if your body were listening, because it is. When you make this shift, you'll feel the change. Your digestion will thank you. Your mind will slow down. Your body will stop holding water and begin flowing with it. This is not just hydration, it's restoration. a forgotten ritual in the noise of modern life. And the moment you begin to sip instead of swallow, you'll realize that every gulp you've ever taken was a missed opportunity to heal. But now, the ritual is back, and your body is ready to receive it. There's a certain satisfaction in a glass of ice-cold water, especially on a hot day. It shocks the mouth, jolts the senses, and gives a momentary illusion of refreshment. But this habit, so deeply ingrained in modern culture, is one that Buddhist monks avoid with intention and discipline. Why? Because cold water does more than cool your mouth. It extinguishes your body's internal fire. And that fire, known in ancient teachings as Agni, is sacred. It's the very energy responsible for digestion, vitality, clarity of mind, and emotional balance. When you introduce cold water into your body, especially during meals or when your stomach is empty, you send a wave of constriction through your organs. Blood vessels tighten, metabolic processes slow, your digestive fire dims, struggling to break down food and absorb nutrients. The result? Sluggish digestion, trapped gas, brain fog, and a constant feeling of inner dampness. Over time, this weakens the entire system. The gut becomes cold, the limbs feel heavy, your immune system becomes vulnerable, and your emotional state may reflect this as well, with dullness, indecision, or an inability to act with confidence and flow. The monastic path teaches that the body is not meant to be shocked. It is meant to be supported. Water should match your inner temperature or slightly warmer to assist the natural harmony already working within you. In monasteries, even during summer, monks are given warm or room temperature herbal water. This helps maintain equilibrium. It supports digestion, soothes the nervous system, and keeps the life force, prana, circulating freely. The practice isn't rigid, it's respectful. They don't drink cold water because they honor the inner fire that keeps the temple of the body alive. If you've grown up believing that cold water is refreshing, you're not alone. But refreshment is not the same as restoration. One numbs, the other heals. Try it. For 1 week, switch to warm or room temperature water. Observe your body. You may notice less bloating, more energy, clearer thinking. You'll feel warmth where there was dullness, flow where there was friction, and most of all, presence where there was absence. Because the moment you stop cooling your core, you start honoring your fire, and with it, your power to digest, to transform, and to live with grounded energy. It may seem harmless to take a sip while walking, scrolling, cooking, or even talking, but in the eyes of a Buddhist monk, this is a form of disrespect, not just to the water, but to the body that receives it. When you drink while distracted, standing, or in motion, you break the energetic alignment required for proper absorption. Water enters the body, yes, but without harmony, without presence, without being fully received. And over time, this seemingly innocent habit creates deeper imbalance than most people realize. In ancient Eastern medicine, the body is seen as a vessel of energy channels, meridians, through which life force flows. When you drink while standing or walking, your spine is often misaligned, your muscles are tense, your breath is shallow, and your awareness is scattered. The water rushes through the digestive tract without proper activation. It hits the stomach abruptly, and the kidneys are not prepared to filter it efficiently. This can lead to bloating, fatigue, and long-term issues with water retention, inflammation, or joint stiffness. More importantly, it weakens the sacred connection between your mind and your body. Monks never drink water on the move. They pause, they sit, they breathe. Before the first sip, they connect with the act itself. Their posture is upright. Their mind is calm. The hands hold the cup with intention. And in that simple stillness, the water is no longer just a drink. It becomes a transmission of balance. Try this for yourself. Sit before you drink, even if it's just for 1 minute. Feel your feet on the ground. Place your hand on your belly. Close your eyes. Then drink slowly. You'll notice the difference, not just physically but spiritually, because in that moment you're not just hydrating, you're returning to your center. When you shift from drinking on autopilot to drinking in presence, your digestion improves, your anxiety softens, your entire system begins to trust that nourishment is coming from a place of stability, not stress. This is one of the smallest changes you can make, and one of the most powerful. Because when you sit to drink, you are telling your body, I am here, I am listening, I am ready to receive. And in doing so, you re-establish a forgotten intimacy with your own healing process, one sacred sip at a time. The monk does not drink water out of habit. He drinks with reverence. He knows that water, though common, carries the essence of life, and to treat it casually is to miss its power. When you drink water with the right posture, at the right time, in the right state of mind, it becomes something entirely different. It becomes a ritual of restoration, a moment to reset your nervous system, regulate your energy, and realign with your body's natural wisdom. You're not just consuming, you're receiving. You're nourishing the parts of you that are far more than physical. The ritual is simple, yet sacred. Sit down. Breathe deeply. Hold your cup with both hands. Let your mind settle. Then sip, slowly, gently. Let the water move through you like light. Don't gulp. Don't rush. Treat each mouthful as medicine. Warm water is ideal. It mirrors your body's internal temperature and supports the digestive fire. Cold water disrupts. Warm water invites. When taken mindfully, warm water soothes the gut, opens energy channels, and delivers hydration to your cells in a way that feels anchored and safe. This is the difference between routine and ritual, between hydration and healing. You don't need candles or chants to do this, just presence. Even if you only have 2 minutes, give those minutes fully. Let drinking water become your daily ceremony. Over time, this one practice begins to ripple into everything else. You'll eat more consciously. You'll breathe more deeply. You'll respond to stress with more grace. Why? Because you've trained your nervous system to slow down, to listen, to trust. And water becomes the teacher, not because it changes you, but because it gives you the space to change yourself. This is the path the monks walk every day, and now you can too. When you begin to drink water with intention, your body notices, and it responds, not with noise or drama, but with quiet, powerful shifts. Within just a few days of aligning your hydration with the body's natural rhythm, changes begin to unfold. Your digestion becomes smoother. You stop feeling heavy after meals. Your thoughts feel clearer. You wake with more ease. The skin softens, the belly lightens. These are not coincidences. They are the signs of the body remembering its rhythm. When water is no longer forced upon the system, but received in the way nature intended, healing becomes the default state. By day 3, you may begin to experience a kind of stillness that wasn't there before. Not a lack of energy, but a grounded energy. Your emotions feel more stable. The brain fog that once clouded your mornings begins to lift. Your cravings may soften. You begin to eat when hungry, not out of habit but from presence, and your sleep, especially, begins to deepen. You wake up less in the night. Your dreams feel more complete. The body no longer struggles to process water at midnight. It now receives it at sacred moments when it can be used for cleansing, not compensation. As the days pass, something deeper awakens. You begin to crave the ritual itself, not just the water, but the stillness, the breath, the return to self. This is one of the greatest gifts of mindful hydration. It restores not just the body, but the relationship you have with your own care. You're no longer surviving the day, you're tending to it. You're not just drinking, you're healing. One sacred sip at a time. This is when hydration stops being a health habit and becomes a spiritual discipline, a way of reconnecting with nature, with your breath, and with the quiet wisdom your body has been whispering all along. In the sacred Teachings of Buddhist healing, water is never just a drink. It is seen as a bridge, a fluid connection between the physical and the spiritual. Monks do not treat water as routine. They treat it as medicine, not in the pharmaceutical sense, but in the energetic sense. A sacred force that, when received with mindfulness, can realign organs, calm the mind, and gently awaken the soul. The difference lies not in the water itself, but in the awareness you bring to it. Water, without presence, is just consumption. But water, received consciously, becomes transformation. Most people drink reactively, to thirst, to habit, to schedules. But the body does not thrive on volume. It thrives on rhythm. When you shift from drinking by habit to drinking by presence, you begin to understand hydration as a sacred agreement with the body. You listen before you pour. You pause before you sip. You check in, not just with your mouth, but with your belly, your breath, your energy. This is the practice monks embody daily. They do not take from water, they meet it. And in that meeting, something powerful happens. The body softens, the heart opens, the nervous system begins to trust again. When you see water as medicine, every sip becomes intentional. You begin to recognize that your body isn't asking for more. It's asking for meaning. And when water becomes meaningful, it activates healing far beyond the physical. It touches your emotions. It lifts the fog from your spirit. It restores your ability to feel joy in the quiet, to breathe deeply without reason, to be still without effort. This is not fantasy. It is a return to wisdom that has been with us since the beginning. You do not need to change your whole life, just the way you drink, and from there, the medicine flows. In the end, the choice is simple, but profound. You can drink with intention, or you can drink damage. There is no neutral act when it comes to water. Every sip you take either brings your body into alignment or pulls it away from its natural rhythm. The body is always listening. It remembers when it's been respected and when it's been ignored. And while modern health systems often chase results through pills and programs, the monks remind us healing begins in the smallest, most overlooked places. It begins not with what's added, but with what's finally understood. You don't need to memorize complicated rules. You don't need to overhaul your lifestyle overnight. You simply need to return to rhythm. 5 sacred moments, a seated posture, a deep breath, warm water taken slowly. This is not a trick, it's not a fad. It's the forgotten way, the way of alignment, the way of reverence. You'll find that when you honor your hydration, your entire life begins to shift. The fog clears, the sleep deepens, the inflammation fades. But more than that, you begin to feel present, embodied, safe inside yourself. So this is the final teaching. Water doesn't just carry life, it carries the way you live. Drink it with distraction, and you live in disconnection. Drink it with presence, and you return home, one sip at a time. You don't need to be a monk. You don't need to live in silence. You just need to pause, to breathe, to remember that every time you hold a cup of water, you are holding your healing. And whether it becomes medicine or a missed opportunity depends on how you choose to receive it.